seller,
Sorry, Tim, I forgot to
oh,
hit
no,
record.
no problem. Make sure that that lender provides them with a summary sheet of the loan terms, because that way it'll show, with their payment, the taxes, the insurance, all the things, HOA and all that. So they look at the bottom line, what they're bringing to the table, and how much that monthly payment is going to be. Once I just get a pre-approval letter and you go out there and go for it. And then on the back end, you kind of seeing what, how much the monthly payment is. No, you need that up front. When they go out there and you're writing a contract, you need, and these sellers these days, look, they're trying to get these places sold. A lot of them don't have a whole bunch of buyers if this one falls through, I'll just pick the next one. You may be the only one, and they may not be as easy to say, okay, let me let you out this contract because I got two more in the wings. No, they're gonna hold you, some gonna hold your feet to the fire. So it's best, like you just said, Rod, do your due diligence up front with your client to make sure they understand what their buying power is, and that they're gonna have the funds, and that they're comfortable with that monthly payment. Because the one thing about it, you can have buyers that they make a lot of money. I mean, together combined, they come 200,000, but they don't want to pay $5,000 a month for mortgage. Yep. And if they try to stand to 400,000, that could be a point of contention when you write a contract and they're approved for it. They didn't know what that monthly payment was going to be, and they can't see themselves doing that. So you definitely want to make sure that you ensure that they understand that before they write that contract, before they say this is what they want to sign up for.
That's right. That's good, Tim. That's good. Anything else on finance, guys?
I think all I could add to that conversation is, in the past, we've had the conversation with the lender. We as agents representing buyers would have an initial conversation with that agent, with the lender, and then, check in. But, I'm finding that for the buyers that I'm working with now, because of what's happening in the market, sometimes I'm talking to the lender every other day. Every time I show a house that my client likes, I'm having a conversation.
Yeah.
Each time you as the agent, especially if you're a new agent, have a conversation with the lender, you're going to learn something new. They're going to start telling you about, their different products and, what this impact would be if the HOA goes up to this much, or what the impact would be if they choose a condo instead of a fee simple structure for their next home. So be ready to take notes, because in this season, you're going to learn a whole lot about your partnership with the lenders.
That's right. That's right. And taxes too, like Pam just said, make sure they know all the other, like if there's a property that we're looking at, we think about writing an offer on, I like to send that listing to the loan officer. I send a copy of that listing so they can see the taxes. Very important, taxes, especially Rod, you over there in Maryland, and you got to watch them taxes. That tax amount, you get the DAGs and tax insurance, it may knock them out, especially if there's like condo fee too. Condo fees, you got to be careful with condos. Condos, you can't write off a condo. That condo fee is treated like it's a car, like a little car payment. So it impacts their debt to income ratio. HOA, you got to watch even the HOA. If they're right there on the line, that borderline of being approved for that amount, HOA could be too much. So take your time, do your due diligence up front. Anything else on finance? Any questions, guys? This time you can always stop us. We can slow down and break something down. Okay. Okay. Values, same values, work ethic, great personality.
So,
but also
sorry for bringing you back. Yeah. The PMI, when you're calculating, I know usually I just like you, I just send the property to the lender to see what, can come out of it. But, I was thinking, I got this calculator, and then I'm thinking of the PMI, and I really haven't figured out how to calculate that, if you guys don't mind.
PMI calculation. I don't do the PMI calculation. Probably should, not a bad, but I would, usually, like Tim said, when you get that net sheet from the what's it called, Tim?
They call it a summary
The
sheet.
estimate.
summary that
Summary
Mhm.
that would already include it in
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I
Because-
make a suggestion? Because I've seen a lot of agents, mentees come to me, and this is usually one of the problems that they have, and they end up losing a deal or they lose confidence with their buyer. Because one, my suggestion would be this: don't overcalculate anything. Number two, don't make it definite because things are fluid and they change.
Yeah.
So I give you another online part to that, but try not to do those things. I always absolve yourself of this. Just say to them, I will give you an estimate, but it's important we talk to your lender. Always get them to even have that conversation with the lender often. If they don't want to
They
do
have the
it,
conversation with their lender. That's for me. I send them to the lender, but I'm just thinking because I want to be able to have an idea, just like Pam taught us the other time that, sometimes you want to have an idea, you want to put in all of this number and just have an idea.
it is
Most of
good.
it, yeah.
It's very good for you to have the idea, but what I'm trying to say is avoid, because this is the thing. I was a finance manager for 15 years, finance director for 15 years. Buyers hear. And whatever you tell them the first time, that's all they hear. And that never gets out of their head. And that's the reason why I say avoid doing that. Because the other thing that happens is this: you've shown them a property. Well, let's even, because condos get complicated, right? Just like what said. But let's even look at a house. Let's say you pick a house in Upper Marlboro. And the next thing you know, because you slightly move still in Upper Marlboro, but to a different area, the taxes are different. If I told them this number and I say your payment is going to be this, or this is what we're looking at, that's what they're holding on to in their head. When it changes, they don't know. So that's why I say, be careful, so that way you're always constantly saying to them, these numbers could change. What I'm telling you is, and I don't ever say this number. I always give a range. If someone says to me, what's my note going to be on a $400,000 property? I'll say, let's say you, even if you've done it, like you said, Rose, and you now know that their payment is going to be 3,000, give them a range and give them a higher range. That's how you test their boundaries. So you're going to say something like, your payment will be in the range of 3 to 3,500, 3 to 3,300, 3,000 to 32. Do ranges like that. It makes it a lot easier. And then the other thing I just wanted to say real quick, so I don't take too much of your time, is I found that if you want to use a calculator, the one in the MLS is pretty good, but the one with MBH is awesome.
Okay.
So use those.
Okay. Thank you.
That's good. All right, guys, let me go back here. Okay, MLS. So now that they are pre-approved, you got a pre-approval letter, you know what they're approved for. At the same time, you're starting to send them some homes, but now you have definitely an idea how much they're qualified for. If they're qualified up to 500, you'll want to start sending them 700 stuff. And also even be careful with that, guys. If they tell you they want to be at 400, you can, I set an expectation sometimes. If I know that they're qualified for more, I'll say, well, I'm going to send you a look, maybe 425, just so you get an idea. I'm not trying to get you to spend more money, but I just want to show you what's out there. Is that all right? So I kind of get their permission to send them something higher than what they told me. Because sometimes people have this mindset that, man, they're just trying to get me to buy more so they can get a bigger commission. But just kind of set the expectation, ask their permission. Is it okay if I send them something a little bit higher so you can see? But that's only if they're qualified that high. So start sending them homes via email. So you got to get into the MLS. Get into the MLS, and MLS is a powerful tool. It's the lifeblood of our business, guys. You got to get set up with MLS and the board. You can get set up with the MLS before you join the board. You're going to pay a little bit more for it, but you want to get set up with the MLS as soon as possible. And start getting that practice. And for those of you, I think most of us here are MLS, except, I don't think we have any new agents on. with Joy. You guys are down, I think it's Rain, but every MLS
We
has
are MLS. Rain is Tidewater.
power. Okay, which one are you, Joy?
Central Virginia MLS, CVR,
Okay.
MLS. Rain is Tidewater.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So all of them have tutorials, guys, on YouTube. Most of them I've seen have tutorials on YouTube. So you want to get out there and look at the tutorials, watch the tutorials, go to the website. There's training on the website, but Bright MLS has tons of YouTube videos. And of course, you're going to go through this with your mentors as well. Is this covered under the mentee program, Pam? I haven't done it in a while, but is it?
You know what? They don't necessarily do the individual MLSs as part of the mentee training.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
separate because the program is overreaching so many areas that they can't individualize it that way.
I gotcha. Okay.
But
So
just
let me.
FYI, I mean, I have recorded YouTube videos on how to set up MLS and things like that.
Oh, that's good.
You have Bright. I'll go and look for yours. That's great. Thank you, Jimmy.
No worries, you're welcome.
There's tons of training out here in MLS. You gotta first go ahead and get signed up with it. All of our get signed up with MLS, but get in there and start playing around with it. Practice searching lease homes for rent and also sales. Practice different counties, putting in the county, putting in the city. Guys, hold on 1 sec. I gotta open the door right quick. Go ahead, Pam, Jimmy. I'll be right back.
Yeah, when you go into the MLS, it's just a good thing to do that practice that Rob was talking about, so that you'll have the information available about the areas that you're going to be working in primarily. I tell my mentees to go in just to look and do searches at different price points, so they know those neighborhoods that are at those price points. When you're working with a buyer, Rob was talking about a buyer that's approved at 400, but eligible, to spend more money. Many times when you compare what they say they want to spend with where and how they want to live, it doesn't match up. Okay, because MLS can be your friend in a situation like that. Always go and look to see where is that $400 going to put them at. That $400,000 rather. Is it going to put them in a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house, that they want to be in? They're in Woodbridge. No, it's not going to do that. So that way you can revise and set expectations, so where they know where they can get the most bang for their dollars.
Can I put a peg too? I usually tell the agents to set themselves on the MLS, because what we see is a little bit different from what I know on our MLS. It looks a little different than what they will see, what the purchaser will see.
Yes.
So I say do a dummy one for yourself so you can see what the purchaser is actually seeing.
Actually, to piggyback on that, Joy, if you set up your MLS correctly, anytime you create a home search for your clients and you send it to them, you get a copy of it.
Yeah.
You can actually go in and you can actually access the portal that they'll see. Because one of the key things when you set up that portal is you want to, like Joy said, you want to be able to see what they see so you can give them guidance. One of the things that I do is, and I've got clients call me and say, oh, the one that you sent me this morning. Well, I'm like, I don't know what I sent you this morning.
Yeah.
I have an AI. Yeah, I have an AI that sends you stuff based on what you told me. So based on that, so it makes you look very efficient, but I've trained them, or we have to train them to let them know what they need to do. If you set it up correctly, you can say to them, now go into your portal, and MLS will tell you if they did or didn't. It will tell you when they went in there or when the last time and all that good stuff. Then you now say to them, favor what you like. There's a heart button in there. There's a heart shape. It says favorite. Click what you like. You can even put comments on there. You can tell me what you're thinking of. That way, when you and I are talking the next time, I already know what you're looking at. I can reach out to the agent beforehand and I can get ideas of if this is going to work for you based on our consultation, based on the things that you're looking for. So that way, it allows you to maximize your time and be very effective for your clients.
That's good. And print them out, guys. Print out something. That's why you need a good printer at your house. Print it out. Go through it. Like when you're out and about, they ask you how many bedrooms. You don't want to be like trying to find out where's this located on the MLS on the printout. How many bedrooms, bath? What's the square footage of the house? Does the washer and dryer come with the house? Does it convey? You know, get used to reading these and looking at the information. And then when you're on the other side, the listing side, make sure you're putting in good information. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Can I also ask this question? All the new agents in there, do you all have your EXP's mobile app, your Millions map? If you don't have it, download it. Every agent has a personalized one for them. And if you, let me tell you the easiest way to find it. It is your first name. Hold on one second. I
think an updated. Joy, did they talk about an updated one, Tim? At the
They did. They did. They said they were coming out with a totally new one.
There's going to be a totally different one. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to be coming out.
But currently, the one we still have one that works. That, you know, and it's usually your first name, last name, exprealty.com/app.php. You get people to download that. It instantly takes them to your landing page, to your website. They do searches. You instantly know what they're looking for over there. And it's another way of you actually getting leads because they can share your app. What I always love to say to people is this: when you're out and about, regardless of what I've set up for you in the MLS, when you're out and about, it's like you having me right next to you every single time you're going out. Because let's say you land in a neighborhood and we've been searching for you in Woodbridge, but all of a sudden you find yourself in Stafford. And then you're like, you know what, I don't mind living over here. And you saw a house that you kind of like, you can go into that app right there and then, and you can tell me you're in front of a house or whatever it is that you're doing, but it puts me in your hand right away. And you can say, I love this house, I want to know more. You can schedule a showing with me. And you get alerted instantly if you set up all these things right and it's on your mobile phone. So you know and it makes you look so magical and super efficient because before they call you, you saw that they saw that and the system tells you they're looking at this. And you can reach out to them and call them if you have the spare time and say, hey, I saw that you were looking at such and such, especially for, you know, potential buyers who are on the edge, who you've been trying to schedule a showing for and they keep, you know, telling you, oh, I'm not ready or whatever, or they haven't even spoken to the lender. You can say, I keep seeing that you're looking at these things. Let's get you going. It makes you.
Please, could you share that again? The AP.
It's your first name, last name.
Sir.
So for mine, it will be Jimmy Okonola, right?
Yes.
Dot exprealty.com /app.php. That's Apple Papa Papa dot Papa Hotel Papa.
app.php. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Thanks, Jimmy, for that, because I could have used that with one of my rental clients, because we started out in Manassas. Now he's saying Culpeper and he's, you know, going all over the place. So I think that would be very, very useful for those kind of people that you start somewhere and then they start veering to other places.
Exactly.
And also based on my experience, when you talk about people favoriting a property, I had no idea that existed before, but I learned on the job pretty much because one of my renters, that's what she kept doing. She was favorited a property and she was writing comments. So I was just like, mistakenly one day, I just saw it. I'm like, oh, she has comments. I didn't even know, but sometimes you learn all those things on the go too. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. That's good. Okay, guys, so get in there and practice. As if you had a client, practice, print it out.
Set yourself up in the search. You get it yourself.
Set yourself.
That way you get to learn it. That's what I did.
And learn how to do is set up an auto search where they get it Automatically, they'll get listings. You can pick the day of the week. If you want to get listings every morning at a certain time, boom, you can set it up that way, or every other day. Or you can also, we can set up as soon as that house comes on the market, you can, they'll get that listing, especially in hot markets when it's like super crazy, like it was 2 years ago. Man, I set up a search as soon as 0 days on the market, boom, as soon as it went in the system, they got it.
Yeah.
And I put it in the subject, hot on the market. So, all right. Let's see here. Let's talk about looking at homes now. Let's talk about some best practices. Okay, now you're sending your clients listings. They select homes they're interested. That you contact the buyers to confirm, hey, these are the ones. They put a heart next to it, price, location, schools, bed, bath size. Is this going to work for you? And then you set up a date. Set up a time when you all are going to get out and look at houses. So we want to find out when's the best time for them to get out and look at properties. And see if that time's going to work for you. You may have to get a showing assistant. You may have to have another agent show houses for you at some point if you start getting busy. But for now, just say you have the time, you all match up schedules to go out looking at homes. So what's some tips, guys, some of our experienced agents, because I didn't get deep into this one here, but looking at homes, I'm still old school. I like to print out. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we look at the homes, I'm contacting the agents. I'm calling the agents to have a conversation. Does anybody Jimmy, want to tell them about your conversation you have with the agents that the properties you're going to schedule?
Yeah, typically one of the things that I do is, depending on what comment is already in the MLS, right? I see what's already written in there, and I formulate my conversation around that. But most importantly, one of the things that I do is I call the agent and it sounds something like this. Hey, Rod, how you doing? This is Jimmy O'Connell from eXp Realty. I'm getting ready to show you a house on 1234 on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to find out from you, because I've got a super motivated client, and they're coming out of town. They've got very little time, depending on whatever the conversation is,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what I'm saying. But I make things up as I'm going. But in any case, because I'm quick on my feet like that. And so time is of the essence to them. And I just want to know, how many offers do you have in hand right now? When are you presenting, so that we can move at the speed of light to get this thing going? If I'm telling you as a listing agent that I've got a well-qualified buyer, they want to move at the speed of light, they're ready to go, they're coming out of town or whatever, and I create an urgency for you. Most agents don't want to tell you anything, but if I create an urgency for you because I have a buyer and I say it like that, most of them will spill the tea. They'll tell you, I present as it comes in, or yeah, we don't have anything in hand right now. Oh yeah, we have a couple in, oh what? So you understand the urgency,
Mm-hmm.
so you can know how to frame your conversation to yourself, to your buyer. Because you just want to be in that position that you're doing the very best for your client every single time. It creates an urgency in the mind of the buyer. They have an understanding that we're not just going on an excursion, we're actually going to purchase a home.
That's good.
The idea is we're going, because a lot of buyers, don't forget, especially first-time home buyers, yes, you want to get them into a home, but they're thinking, I've got to look at 20 houses, 200 houses before I make a decision. We're just going to go and look for homes. So you've got to create that conversation in a way that you transform them from a Saturday and a Sunday drive around for them looking at open houses to you getting them to, this is a business decision for you, for your family to make a decision quick, which also relates to what we've been talking about earlier on. They need to have all their ducks in a row. One of the conversations I have with them also is to let them know that, listen, the moment we find this house and you love it, I say, in fact, I even say to my clients sometimes, buyers, we might go to this house here, you don't like it. It might not be the house for you. You probably don't want to, you probably want to see 20 more houses. However, I want you to be in a position that when we find that one that you're in love with, we're ready to make a decision right away, because you're going to be competing against other people. You don't want to be in a situation where we go in there, other people are already ready with their finances and you're not ready. So, but those are the kind of conversations I have with a listing agent to make sure that, one, it allows me to know how eager, how, motivated their seller is. What am I competing against? Do they already have 4 offers in hand? And if they do, and based on the conversation that the listing agent they give back to me, that lets me know how I need to shape my conversation with my client, how I need to create the urgency, and also thinking about what we need to be writing. But that also makes it very important for me to make sure I do a CMA instantly if we get into a house that they say they love. So I'm also encourage this to all agents. When you go into any showing, please always have your laptop with you, because it makes you super efficient. Because what if you come out the house and the client says, I love it, I want to know. We say, let's go to the back of my car. Pull up your laptop and say, let's look at it, blah, blah, blah. This is what the valuation on this property is saying. This is how long it's been on the market. You see how many people are outside looking at it. That creates an urgency, and it makes them understand. But along the way, when you're doing all of this, always ask that question too. Are you sure about this one? Is this the right one for you? Are you ready to write an offer on this one?
That's good. That's good. Jimmy, you said something, brother. That's how I am, man. I'm a mobile office. I set up shop right there. Right there in that house, sometime on the counter, especially if it's a vacant house, man. I set up laptop and boom, 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 boom. To go.
All that what he said is excellent. Like you said, carrying your laptop. I carry my laptop to dinner. I mean, my computer's with me at all times. My husband think I'm crazy, but I said, I don't know when a deal gonna come. But the part that I do like what Jimmy said, that even with experienced agents aren't doing this. You need to go back and ask the listing agent questions, like he said, make it sound urgent, but ask the questions if, and it may or may not tell you, do you have multiple offers? Because people are still, I heard Pam say the other day, agents are still trying to make high, way over asking price when they should be asking for closing costs. So ask the questions, they may not tell you because they don't have to, but just make it sound urgent that they want to tell you. I like what he said on that. Make it sound urgent. Like, I got somebody, they are looking to do something real quick. They're just coming out of town. If they're just coming out of town, hey, what's the situation on your property? Do you have multiple offers? I just need to know how to write this offer up so we can get it accepted. Because if you say I'm writing this offer to get it accepted, that means that I'm not trying to, play around with you. So I like what he just said.
Trying to go see 5 more houses.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
One of the urgent things I also do is this. And if you're on the other side of my transaction, you just expect this all the time. When my client turns around and say they're interested on a deal, on a property, if I call that, actually, in fact, sometimes before I even call the agent, I send my digital business card to them right away to introduce myself. That's one of the things. I send in a text to introduce myself. Then I get on the phone and I call them. It creates a familiarity with the agent on the other side. It makes them feel comfortable and want to do business with you, because they just feel like there's just something about creating that, reaching out to someone to say, hey, this is, So, I mean, to me, I do that all the time and it works for me. I mean, 9 out of 10 times, especially when I'm in a competing situation and I send my digital business card and a nice message and I give them a phone call, I always get those contracts ratified.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
I love it. Y'all, those are some of the best nuggets. You do not want to schedule to take your buyer to a home without having a discussion, and the buyer falls in love with the house, and you come out of there, then call the agent and find out they're getting ready to ratify a contract. No.
Yeah.
All right. You have those conversations the day before showing those houses. So you're the smart agent. You walk in there and you got your mobile office. You know everything there is to know about this house and about the seller motivation, because you've had a conversation with the agent. Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
That's
then
motivation.
to be 100% ready, you already got to know, how to work with these documents. All right. Get those documents done and make sure that they are perfect. All right. Everything done right. I'm going to tell you, those 2 things, I've gotten the contract Number one, because of creating a relationship with that listing agent. And number two, because my contracts were spotless, I've got, and wasn't the highest bidder in both of those scenarios. So the little things, and I don't think those are little things, but those things are very important. Very, very important to do those two things.
Pam, you said something.
It is,
Good stuff, Pam.
which is better because what I do is I take my clients out, and when they're interested in the property, I call the agent, because I don't want to call an agent, set an expectation, and then the client changes their mind. So which is better, calling before or after?
Calling before. All right, because let me tell you something. Even if your client is hyped up on a house and you call the agent, yes, my client is loving it. We're going to see it. You know, I will let you know as soon as we're done. All right, nothing beats a follow-up call.
Exactly.
Okay, if your client gets in there and it's something that they just, okay, this ain't gonna work. Another conversation with the agent could lead to a couple of things. You know, one, they just don't want it and we're gonna move on. Two, well, how about if my client throws in such and such? How about we give you a discount or whatever? You never know. There could be a new opportunity in that follow-up call. But you don't skip making that call. It is, if you're working with a buyer, it's a must. It's on the things I have to do to get my client this contract list.
Wow.
Call that agent in advance.
Yep.
Wow.
That's good, Pam.
That's good.
That's awesome.
That's exactly what I do, guys. That's why.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's powerful.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Okay, so your client changed their mind and they're like, okay, I don't want the house any longer. It doesn't ruin your relationship with the other agent. It actually makes you very good, because now you can pick up the phone and say, hey, you know what? They really love the house, but for whatever reason, you give them what that sincere reason was, or it just wasn't for them. That's fine. But then you say to the other agent, listen, if you have any other thing that is similar to this or whatever, let me know. You know, that's how you build relationship.
Yeah, build a relationship.
And it just works on so many levels. It may not be, that's why I always tell my client, again, I know we're recording this, but I always say to my clients, whether they're buyers or sellers, I say my relationship with the other agent on the other side is extremely important, because it's not just about your deal. I have to make sure that I do a good enough job for you, so that when that agent sees my name, they want to accept my offer on your behalf. It's extremely important. So build that relationship, and then not to talk more even about if you want to, you know, recruit that agent to come to EXP. You got a great relationship with them. So on so many levels, it's extremely important to make that phone call before. To build that relationship.
Build a relationship, guy. That's so critical. I've gotten offers accepted in Fairfax. Guys, y'all know Fairfax. Very competitive.
Yeah.
The who's who, the lily white. I'm telling you, it's difficult to compete up in Fairfax. I'm talking like 2020, 2021. But because I established that relationship with that agent, call and talk to him, let them hear my confidence, my passion, my excited, I'm smiling when I'm talking, you know, that I'm not adversarial. I'm not, you know, we're in this together. Let's bring these parties together. Let's put a deal together. My folks really love this house. We're excited about seeing it. Let them hear that in your voice. They don't want to hear drama. When agents call me, I don't want to deal with drama. I don't want to deal with nobody got an attitude. You know? But you establish that rapport with that listing agent. It goes a long way. I'm talking about multiple offers, guys, and my offer was chosen. And they come back and told me, Rod, it was just something about you.
Exactly.
Something about you.
Exactly.
Or if they work with you before, they'll remember you from working a good deal. So stop being, you know, fighting all the time. Work together.
That's right.
Just if you, because I get so many deals. Oh, Joy, you know what? I got all these offers, but I don't know the other agents as well, or I like the way you work. So always think about your next deal, not thinking about the current deal. It's about the next deal. It's about the relationship. It's about you having a name in the streets. Like, you don't want that name like, oh Lord, here come her contract. It's the best contract, but I'm gonna go for so-and-so's contract because I know how they operate. Also, if you I'm getting a lot of contracts lately not filled out completely. And so when you have a contract not filled out completely, that turns off a listing agent. But those are my two.
Exactly.
It does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's our next thing we're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I'm
so funny that
passionate.
we're having this talk right now.
Mhm.
And I just got a call from a listing agent. Okay. We're under contract and we've been talking about the home inspection. And they asked for some things to be done by professionals. And because I have this relationship with this agent, you know, I told her about an item that their inspector pointed out that really is not an issue. They want to change, they want my sellers to change the boats on the deck. All right. So, you know, I went the extra mile and I did the research on the boats and the difference in the boats. And it's a contractor preference. I sent this information to her. She was like, oh my goodness, I never knew about this. So I want her to be able to advise her clients, you know, we're not changing the boats. They good. You know, if I didn't have a relationship with her, we wouldn't have been able to have that conversation. So
That's
just
good.
to go back to how important that is, you know, you owe your client that bit of due diligence.
Yeah. And that goes back to finances too, guys. That's why I don't work with anybody and everybody. I gotta be like, part of my process also is to say, my loan officer is going to get in contact with you right now. Again, I got to have a loan officer. Can't be some corporate person in California. You know,
Yep.
I got my loan officer going to call them right now and to verify my client is good to go, that they're strong, that this pre-approval is as good as gold.
Yep.
Yep,
That's
your
part of
loan
my
officer
process.
to make or break the deal.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now we get
That's
into
good stuff.
writing. Ooh, we're 8:53. Let's try to get through writing an offer. We may have to pick up next time on it, but writing offers. Is this good, new agents? Are y'all picking up good tips?
Yeah,
Let's hear
it
from our
is,
new
it
agents.
is. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for your time. Thank you.
Definitely.
So writing offers, guys, start now to review your contracts. Don't wait till you're under the gun, under the pressure. Start now, get a contract. Reach out to another agent, say, can I have a copy of a completed agent? If they want to mark out the names, that's fine. But you want to see what one looks like. You know, I remember being scared to death in the beginning. I couldn't write a contract. Mike and Tara Houston helped me write my first contract way back when, like 07, 08, something like that. They helped me write my contract. And I need that help, but you know, I wish I had one beforehand that I could just kind of go through. Even with that, guys, you still need somebody there to help you, you know, kind of fill it out completely. You have somebody. We're all here to help you, support you. Don't worry about it. But you got to do your part too. Take the time to review contract addendums, your financing addendums, your home inspection addendums. Read them. Read the paragraphs. Highlight. Take a highlighter. Go through and highlight. Practice writing offers now, guys. You know, this is our Veterans Day weekend. You know, we got a saying: the more you sweat in peacetime, the less you bleed in wartime. You know, you got to put in the sweat, the equity now. Now it's the sweat time, practicing, working out, exercise, doing everything right now, going through practicing. Now, when you get that deal in your hand, you know what to do. You know what to do with it somewhat. So don't wait. Complete contracts properly, like Georgia said. Make sure everything's filled out properly. Everything, you're not leaving out blanks. You're not leaving out whole sections. I can immediately tell when it's a rookie agent. And we don't want that to be a dream team, because you got so much help and support. You shouldn't just be throwing offers together by yourself without calling and contacting somebody and say, hey, look at this. Can you take a look at this before I send it over? Either your mentor, your sponsor, whoever, another experienced agent from Dream Team, look at your offers. Y'all good with that, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in business
Definitely.
for yourself, but you're not by yourself. You got help. You got support on this team. So you can always tell a new agent or an agent that just doesn't do things in excellence. You can always tell the stuff just don't line up. it just doesn't even match. I can't think of an example right now. I looked at one where it's like, what in the world? This doesn't even make sense. Some of the contingency days and the inspection day, home inspection, 15 days, 20 days. No, that's not even.
Interest rate 63.5%. I was like, that decimal way off somewhere.
Yeah, it's just weird stuff. Like, yeah,
Just
God,
got that.
yeah.
Mm.
Cover letter, and that's something I do. It's not a must, but you know, especially back when the market was hot, everything had to, you wanted to absolutely look a little step ahead of the next guy. I was doing nice cover letters. I do them every now and then still, just depends, but a cover letter. Of course, have your pre-approval letter when you're this is writing the offer, getting ready to send the offer over to the other agent after you get it signed. That's another thing. I got an offer on $1 million list. Well, it may have been because of the buyer was older. You will get some in writing every now and then, but you shouldn't be writing out contracts. You should be have some type of form system, zip forms, .loop or something, where you download the forms and electronically complete them, send them put them in SkySlope, and that'll be another training there, but put them in SkySlope and send for digital signatures. So you shouldn't have to write out contracts. We write out listing agreement. I type out my listing agreements, but I get them to sign it. So I guess it depends on your clients, but those will be few and far between where you would have to actually print it out and go meet them and assign it.
Right.
Do y'all ever do those, Pam, Jimmy, Tim?
Yeah.
Which I always type mine out.
Yeah,
I type mine up, but I always bring a copy, especially for listings. I bring it right there. But you know, from that point forward, I make sure everything else is digital.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Make quick changes. You can go in there easy.
Right. So you still type them up, but the listing agreements and the buyer agreements, I still get them to sign right there as I'm meeting with them, talking to them. But some
That's
agents
another reason to have your laptop with you.
Yeah.
You can have that printed out copy. You can review it with them, and they can digitally sign it from their email while you're there. And if you want to make some changes or need to make some changes, you can do that and still have that neat, those neat forms.
Oh, that's a good tip, Pam.
I got a question, matter of fact, for the group. Now when they started, one time we used to just put, especially for like the working with the buyers, and we have like percent offered in MLS, and now they have made a change. What have you guys been putting on your contract? Because you don't know which property they're getting at the time. I know they kind of changed from what they used to do.
In the buyer agreement?
Yeah, in the buyer agreement. And then where we said what's going to be paid to the brokerage, we should just put percent offered in MLS. But now they want a number in there.
So the proper way to do it is you write the minimum of what you're gonna get. So the wording should be something like this: minimum 2.5%.
Yeah.
Or as listed in the MLS, plus a flat fee of whatever, if you're charging a flat fee.
Yeah, so they don't have that much space.
Sorry?
They don't have that much space.
There's enough space for the agency agreement. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the paper one,
minimum to make it fit.
Yeah.
If you do this one, it's space in there.
This one of mine recently. Tell me, is you talking about?
Yes.
Oh, I said 2.5%.
That's right.
Stated in listing by a seller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have plenty of space.
And your
so you just put
a flat fee goes in that block too.
Yeah, if you charge an admin fee.
Yeah.
But really, Rod, what they're saying now, based on what Tim was saying, so where you have when they say 2.5, right?
Right.
It needs to say minimum 2.5%, or as listed in the MLS, paid for by the seller. You can do the paid for by seller, but minimum, you have to have that word, minimum 2.5%.
Minimum, okay.
Okay, that's what it is, minimum.
Whether to the buyer, whether you're doing your agency, well, in this case, it's going to be the buyer agency agreement because you already set your fee with the seller in the list.
Right.
Yeah, but for the buyer, it needs to say minimum 2.5%, or as listed in the MLS.
Okay.
Plus a flat fee of $5, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Right.
If you're charging a flat fee, you need to put it on there. And this is the other key
gotta
thing
write
about
that
flat
down.
fees. If you're charging a flat fee, it must be on all of your contracts.
All
Now,
your contracts.
if I'm presenting, if I'm representing Rod and Rod says, Jimmy, absolutely, I'm not paying your flat fee. Right? Not a problem, Rod. We cross it out and we both initial it. But it must be on everyone. You cannot say because Rod doesn't want to pay the flat fee, I'm going to delete that. No, it must stay on there and you cross it out and you both initial it.
Yeah.
Or they initial it. Someone is
Something about VA too. I think you can't charge veterans.
you
VA.
cannot charge a fee for well.
Are you serious?
Sometimes companies will pay it to you because they've done enough business with you and they know, so they take that loss. But no, you cannot charge that fee. No.
As a buyer or a seller?
For the
As a
buyer.
buyer.
For the buyer. Okay, yeah. Because I just did that. I charged on the sell side, but not the buy side.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
I've tried to convince that because they know that I have a flat fee, they always pay that regardless, but they don't make the
So
pay.
do you guys recommend a flat fee, or you most of your dealings you don't ask for fees?
I'm sure that everybody has a different opinion. This is the bad thing for me. I came from KW and that was the way I was trained to do it, and they allow you to set whatever fee you want. But as a practice, yeah, it's all about really what you want to do. And I justify my flat fee, but yeah.
It's your business. It's up to you. It's completely up to you.
What do you charge your flat fee for? Just like your transaction coordinator?
It covers your transaction coordinator.
Correct.
Yeah. And any other fees you may, especially on the listing side, you got a lot of
marketing
fees.
and
right.
Yeah.
All that. Question.
Yes, sir.
Hey, so Rod, that's the transaction fee, right? The flat fee you guys talking about? Is that transaction fee?
It's not called the transaction fee. He asks us to say flat fee, but that's the fee that, let's say, okay. So the way I was trained, the way I was told, and this is the concept of what it is. Let's say you're showing a buyer a house, right? Because some agents will say you have to pay me X amount of dollars to do, to go and show you houses and stuff like that. That's wrong. In my opinion, it is. But what you do with your flat fee, which used to be called transaction fee or processing fee or any of those things, is basically, it's a way of you absorbing some of the costs that you lay out in the course of your business. So let's say you end up driving all over town to show houses, or you end up in a listing site, for your pictures, for all those things, for the little things that you do that the seller is not going to do, or that you just want to do to make your listing stand out. For example, when you want to pay a contractor to come out and mulch or whatever, it's a way of you absorbing that fee. So yeah, it is a transaction fee, but because because of the way we are set up at eXp, we don't do transaction fees. We don't do processing fees. We don't do any of those. It's just a flat fee, and it legally protects you, saying a flat fee.
Flat.
So in the buyers represent.
We call it an admin fee.
Yeah, don't even call it an admin fee.
You said not to call it an admin fee?
No, not anymore. eXp does not want you to call it an admin fee.
So we want a flat fee on all of them.
It's a flat fee. It's a flat fee. Because if we get audited, you could be it becomes a legal issue. It's not an administrative fee, because what if I don't have an admin person? Then I begin to not define, things like that. So yeah, it's a flat fee. That's strictly what eXp wants you to call it. Now they could change that if you find legal way or whatever.
Tanya has a question.
Yeah, hi, just for clarification. So I guess a couple of weeks ago, I was in training with, it was an EXP training. So my mentor took me there, and it was all about contracts. They had the same conversation. And in that particular area, they talked about you put the commission, whatever that percentage was, and whatever's listed in the MLS. They did not add that little piece that you're saying. So I was still a little concerned, trying to understand. So they did say that retainer fees, administration fees, transaction fees, all of those fees, we could charge them. However, if the client decided that they didn't, they did not want to pay that, eXp would not go out for it. So we're basically on our own on that. Does that make sense?
That is the same thing. That's correct. But the distinction here is this. Two distinctions I want to make, Tanya. Number one, you must put it on all of your contracts. that fee must be there. If you're going to charge it for A, you must charge it for every single person you deal with. That's the idea. So if it's on your, if any buyer agency representation you have, that must be there. But the other distinction is this, and the EXP said this. That's why I also go to your state contract classes and ask that question of your broker again, or send them a text and ask. You cannot call it anything but a flat fee. It has to be
Thank
called
you.
a flat fee.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to pay it, cross it out and initial it. Yes.
Yep. It's completely optional, guys.
Mhm.
Yes.
But like, I was gonna say on the rental agreement though, and if you ever look at the rental, I don't know if any of you do rentals, but you may have some mentees or whatever that do rentals. They have the conversation in there where they actually have like a retainer fee, and then of course then the payment line is a little bit smaller on the rental agreement one as well.
Okay. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't even charge anything.
Yeah.
If I'm helping someone with the rental, I don't charge anything at all because
Yeah.
I rarely do it. And when I do it because of just helping someone out. But I don't charge that at all. So it doesn't. So I
Yeah.
guess that's why I didn't know about that. Thanks for that.
Yeah, you come across that. Yeah. So just like Rod said, know your contracts, really.
Hey, I want to throw this in there. Just whenever you do one for one person, you must do for all, because then it becomes a fair housing issue if you don't. So if you're charging a flat fee or whatever you charge, you must charge for all.
Right.
If you just like if you just have to make sure you cover yourself. So if they have what is called testers, housing opportunity, have something called
Correct.
testers. You do one thing for one, you have to do it for all, or they could come at you for some fair housing stuff.
It's strict fair housing. That's why they said to you, you must charge it for everybody. And if they say no, cross it out initially, but you must.
Yeah.
Or don't do it at all.
And I used to do it back in the day. That's one of the reasons I stopped doing it, because I wasn't doing it for everybody. So it was just best for me not to even touch that, because I didn't want to get into any fair housing issues. Because because I just had clients, because my business is all referral, repeat business, and just some people I just did not want to, I'm already cutting the commission, and because of my relationships and past clients, repeat business, it just didn't work for my business. But it's not to say that you can't do that, guys. You just have to be consistent. For me, I just stopped because I wasn't, and I didn't want to get in trouble. So
Question.
Yes, sir.
So now that we're talking about that, and I've been corrected on that, the gentleman that helped me with the first buyer's representation that I was gearing up for, he's with EXP. He's not part of the Dream Team, but he had reached out to me through the mentor program. So I guess they had him contact me. And this is his verbiage and his language, as far as the transaction fee, right? And he was explaining to me that, even worst case, if a potential buyer ended up leasing a property, then that would cover you to make sure you got some money. But he kept using this term transaction fee. What's the penalty for a guy like that? I mean, he shouldn't he know that that's not the verbiage to use, and what could be the penalty for somebody like that?
I think it's been interchangeable, the verbiage, but the actual language that you put on the contract is what's important.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with
that's what he was telling me to put on the contract.
If he's telling you to put on the contract, we are letting you know moving forward, don't do that. And you can let him know. Maybe he needs to go to a transaction a contract class. I mean, it was allowable before, but EXP in the last 6 months, I've made it a point to let every single agent know, especially in contract classes, that they do not want. In fact, they will kick it back out to you. The TC, they will kick it back out to you, except they don't catch it. They'll kick it back out to you and say, go change that. We don't want transaction fee on there. It's when you write it down in there, in that commission area. So they'll kick it back if they see it. But they do know the word should be flat fee.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, and don't be so hard on, because in real estate, we switch up terminology. It used to be Once upon a, it was worksheet, then there was what was it called? At one time it was called a not truth in London, but it was called a good faith estimate. We got
Yep.
our terminology changes. One time they were requiring to do buyer's agreements, and then they stopped requiring doing buyer's agreements. Now we're back to requiring buyer's agreements. So things change, and as things go on, we just got to stay, we just got to stay up on it, and share the information once you get it.
That's it. That's it. And you'll hear EXP transaction fee is totally different. Like that's a different meaning when you cap and you're running for Icon. Now you're getting charged transaction fees. That's $250 transaction. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but you'll hear those, you hear it sound like the same thing, but it's different. All right. Guys, I know it's web after. Okay, let's hit this. We'll come back to this on next Tuesday, but think about when you're writing your offer, pre-approval letter, you want to have the discussion about deposit amount. Yeah, we'll hit this next time because we want to get deep into, we're going to have some discussion around deposits, contingencies, closing date, explain when the payments start, skipping a month, if I close in, is there a state meeting? I don't know.
I'm just asking, is it state meeting today or no?
It will be interesting for Virginia folks. There have been some changes for Virginia. So
yeah,
I definitely probably want to plug into that. Christine Singhaus is no longer the state managing broker.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to find out. And
Yeah.
Taj is on the news today modeling something at 9, and I didn't know if state meeting was at 9 too, and I was trying to get all my calls.
Your daughter? Oh yeah.
Oh, Ty. Oh wow. Okay.
Where? What channel?
It's on Channel 6 News. It's local news. I didn't think anybody,
Yes, it's at 9 o'clock, guys. It's already started.
All right, I'm
EXP
going in.
Virginia State Boardroom. Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. If you're Virginia